Well, hello,
Melinda.
Melindas. All right, it's EP time. We got a good one here for you today,
This may
too.
be the most excited I've ever been about an EP mode because we have a guest. We never have guests except for our lawyer for some reason one time. So this had nothing to do with the video. This one is historic.
Yeah, this is such a legendary tape for us. We talk about it a lot in the interview, so we'll spare the preamble here. But this is one of the videos that got Nick and I started doing Found Footage Festival. It was a public access show from 1992, 1993.
91.
And we got 91. I think we saw it like in 92 or
Yes.
93.
Yeah.
But we got obsessed with it and quoted it, memorized it, and we'd only seen half the tape. And then we met this guy, Mark Huntsman, and we've known him for maybe 10 years or so. And he's a friend of ours now. But we've never actually watched the video with him. And today we finally get to do it. Before we get to that, though, I want to show somebody. So after the cyber sex on the internet last week that we played that, I think, Nick, you had posed a challenge to people of drawing who's on the receiving end of
the woman's chat, sexy chat.
Yeah, exactly. And who was it that stepped up to the plate? Mike.
Yeah.
Mike Drew stepped up to that plate, and he came up with this, which I think is a very accurate description. It's almost
it's photorealistic.
Yeah. He's saying, uh-huh. I think it looks like he said it and he's typing it.
Yeah, he's typing He's wearing a shirt that says Mountain Dew. And
yep, abbreviated Mountain Dew. Yeah.
Got 3 chins and 3 eyebrow wrinkles and no hair.
Uh-huh. And I really like his chin.
Yeah.
I really like the chin. So nice work, Mike.
And that's who is chatting on the other end of Jolie having cyber sex. Yeah.
Yep, that's the only submission we got. So it's the winner?
Yeah.
Say it's the winner?
You won. You won nothing except our admiration. So thank you, Mike.
All right, let's get into it, huh?
Here's Mark. And here he is, Mark Huntsman.
The man. Yes.
The kid from One Kid's Opinion. He's all grown up, and we've been wanting to do this for a long time. Thanks for doing this, Mark.
My pleasure.
And you're sick, too.
What I am.
Trooper. God
Just
damn.
like I was incredibly sick when I recorded this video. Did it all improv, and I had a fever and stuffy nose then. So
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I remember you telling me that you were sick for the whole video. It's perfect that you're watching it now, being interviewed by us, and you're sick again.
Yes.
Perfect.
You couldn't have planned it better.
Absolutely.
So,
when was the last time you saw this?
In its entirety, I mean, I've seen your guys' clips, but in its entirety, I imagine 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. I haven't watched it in a long time either, probably the same amount of time. So I've seen clips too, but not the whole thing. I'm so excited because I'm not well versed in the first like 10 minutes because when we recorded it, we started at the 10-minute mark. So
I remember.
Yeah.
I had to have my mom put it on DVD and send it to you guys.
And that's the version I'm actually going to play. So, like we've said, we had a tape in case anything interesting on public access TV came up. Joe and I would hit record wherever we were. And that's how we ended up with this video, One Kid's Opinion. We missed like the first 5 or 6 minutes of it. And then you sent me that tape, which was the first time we had seen it. It was like finding the Ark of the Covenant when you sent us that missing 5-10 minutes.
So what was the situation?
Yeah.
So how old were you? What were you? Was this your idea? Set us up.
Okay, so it was I believe 1991. So I was summer, so I would have been 11 years old when this happened. And it was actually the idea of the producer of the segment, who was my mother's best friend growing up, and they remained close in adulthood. And she was saying that her boss at the Evanston, Illinois public television station wanted more kids programming. And so she knew that she wanted to know if I could do something. And so I believe, if I remember correctly, that the idea to do the Disney World review was mine. But she wanted me to do something, and she's the one, her name is Nancy Flannery, and she's the one who set it up. She came up with the idea of the famous Mickey graphics, and her AV people get to work on that. The funny thing is, I don't know if Evanston public television ever aired it. Maybe they aired it once. They distributed it to Milwaukee and Madison. They aired it in Milwaukee a few times, and then Madison ran this thing until I was in college. I remember getting there, getting stoned at 2 a.m. and seeing this thing come on TV. So
you're watching yourself review Disney World as an 11-year-old.
That must have blown your mind.
It was so weird for me to see that they were still playing it. I figured it must have been a mark of its popularity or something, or maybe they were for kids programming too, and that was the only thing they had.
Well, yeah, no, we've talked to people who we played that video before, and they're like, I watched that in high school all the time. They played it was on a heavy rotation.
It really
has all the same lines. Would you say that your relationship with Nancy Flannery, she's like the Scorsese to your De Niro? Would you say like the director, and then you're like because you guys like
there you go.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a synergy
to the table.
Yep, there was a synergy. I didn't get along quite as well with the cameramen. You'll notice that I'm often looking off to the left or whatever. I maintain to this day that was because they kept telling me to look at a certain camera, and they would end up filming me with a different camera.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could see some of the technical problems the camera people had.
I mean, normally public access cameramen are just on top of their game, but you must have got a couple duds here.
Yep.
Well, so the thing that blew me away was, Joe and I were obsessed with this, and my high school friends, and we just thought it was there was like a real, I don't know, I just felt a real kinship with you because I don't know, I just felt like I was a kid too who wanted to be on TV and like wanted to be a presenter and all this stuff, and was continually frustrated by people not meeting my high expectations as a kid. And so I really related to this, and I just thought it was kind of an inside joke between Joe and I and a group of friends that we loved this video so much. And then once we started doing Found Footage Festival and playing it for other people and posting it online, other people had the same reaction. So for a long time, people have been clamoring for us to show the entire video, and I'm like, we're going to wait until we can get Mark in the same room. Well, now
the stars aligned.
You're not in the same room, but you're as close as we're going to get here. So
it's the silver lining to this whole global pandemic is that we get to do stuff like that. So one more thing, you said you went like 25 minutes straight on this, right? There were no edits in it. It was live.
Top of my head.
Yep, and also you were sick.
Yes, no script. I was sick. That was how much I could talk as a kid. It was completely as I went along. All that I did was have the pictures selected for the backgrounds ahead of time. I had the pictures of the various things, and then when I could see, I don't remember if I could see on a screen or something like that, which picture was on the green screen behind me. That was how I knew what to talk about. And what,
okay. Yeah.
We used regular old like ordinary photo camera photos to make the pictures on the back of the screen. One more thing I have to say about this is that this is the gift that keeps on giving, right? So like I made it when I was in my preteens. Then in my 20s, I got to see it still in heavy rotation and got to hook up with you guys in my 20s for the first time. Then in my 30s, you guys got it on Rachel Dratch's, so I could say after getting it on Rachel Dratch's show that I've been on cable television. And now here I am in 40 years old, and like every decade, there's some new twist to this thing. It is my single greatest.
It's never going away. It's never going to go away. Next year there will be something else.
I have a PhD. I'm a published author. Nothing has reached as many people. And it was also very critical in my life because I got a late life autism diagnosis when I was 35. And I had a lot of problems with that, mental health problems. And I'm on disability working part-time now. And one of the things that I did, I got the diagnosis and I went to a therapist. And, I don't always present as autistic to people. And, I'm a little bit different than some people. The spectrum is very wide. And so I was showing the thing, I was trying to introduced my new therapist to my autism, and some of my behaviors on there, I showed him the video, and he had worked with kids before. And later on, I asked him, I was like, sometimes I've started to doubt whether I'm autistic, and I'm like, do you believe the autism? And he says, oh yes. And one of the things that really convinced him was watching the video. So,
one kid's opinion helped him diagnose this? Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
I'm not joking about that. So
Well,
he could some behaviors that he recognized in other kids that he treated. So it's
I would love to see a video of your doctor watching your one kid's opinion and like taking notes as he goes along. Like,
that's what we'll do in your 50s. Is we'll have your we'll do another Zoom where you and your therapist.
yes.
And maybe the next thing is like a hologram, or maybe we implant this directly into people's consciousness next decade. I'm just trying to think what the next step is. But let's watch the whole thing together. And if anytime you want to stop and point something out, and I assume Joe will want to point things out too, just let me know. We'll pause it and we'll.
Okay.
How old were you? Just first, like, how old were you here? 10?
Said 11.
11.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so here we go.
All right, here we go.
Including the first 5 minutes that we never saw.
So Nancy Flannery worked here, huh?
Indeed. She worked a lot of places. I think she quit a few years after this. But
Here it is. Disney World, one kid's opinion.
Hi, my name's Mark. For years, I had been
Switch
begging
camera.
my parents to take me to Disney World. And last spring, my wish finally came true. So here I am with Disney World, one kid's opinion.
Hit
What I
pause, Nick.
thought was really neat is that we stayed on.
Wow, right out of the gate. Okay.
yeah.
What's the shirt?
The shirt I believe I got at Disney World. I can't tell from the logo what is actually on it. I don't know if it's
Maybe at a close-up we'll be able to tell, but let's keep an eye out for that. All right.
but you definitely know that I did buy it while I was at Disney World.
In the backdrop there is a photo of your trip from Disney World. A photo from that, right?
That-
Okay.
Yacht Club Resort. What I remember about that is that as we were driving up to it, I saw a big limo, and Leslie Nielsen got out, and I had just gotten. So he had sunglasses. He was trying to act like the paparazzi were there or something.
Is this like Naked Gun era Leslie
This is-
Nielsen?
Yeah. This is
Okay.
1991, so I think they were still filming Naked Gun 2 and 3 at that point.
Nice. Nice. Good detail.
I mean, already this has been worth it, but let's keep
All right,
going.
all right, let's
with-
resume. Let's resume.
Yeah, okay.
the grounds in Disney's Yacht Club Resort. It's really fun and convenient. In fact, it's within walking distance from Epcot. The rooms are really nice, and they include your own veranda and even a bar in the room.
Nice use of veranda.
And after they clean, the maids leave peppermints. But we had this problem one night. There are 4 people in my family, and they only left 2 mints. So we asked them to next time please leave 4, and sure enough they did. But that wasn't my favorite part of the yacht club. My favorite part was Fantasy Lagoon. 2.5
What'd you say, Mark? Sorry.
I said more responsive than most hotel staff.
It is. But see, already I could tell you're telling an anecdote. Like you have the wherewithal. Like most kids, I don't think would have like an organized thought pattern like that.
And you're probably riding high because you just saw Leslie Nielsen not that long ago. You're probably still like on that high.
All right, let's keep it going.
acres of wet and wild fun, including a shipwreck with a professional water slide, a whirlpool, and several bridges and snack shops. And from there, you can also get to Epcot by tram, or the Magic Kingdom and MGM Studios by bus. Now, probably the most famous attraction in Disney World is the Magic Kingdom. Well, one part of the Magic Kingdom is Adventureland. The first ride we went on there was called Jungle Cruise. I give it 3 Mickeys, wonderfully animated robots. Highlights include going into an Asian cave with a Bengal tiger with gleaming eyes.
What'd you say, Mark?
I said not by today's standards.
No.
No.
By 1990 technology, they were wonderfully animated robots.
And that was the first of the Mickey ratings we just saw there.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't understand. You say you gave it 3 Mickeys there, but it seemed like you liked it. Or are you about to jump into why it's only getting 3 here? I'm not familiar with this opening.
I don't remember, to be honest, but I tried to get as honest a critique as I could of various things.
How much thought did you put into the number of Mickeys that everything would get? Or was it just arbitrary?
Oh, it was pure emotion.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, I like that. I mean, you can't just hand out 5 Mickeys to everybody like some cheap $3 horror. I mean, you got to reserve them. You know,
got to earn it.
You got to earn it. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
I was very much into making.
Ancient.
What's that?
I was very much into making lists at that point. Really, all throughout elementary school. Like when I was 3 years old, I made a verbal list of the top 10 most dangerous animals in the ocean to my mom. So I could barely speak at that point in time. So
you were born for television. Let's keep it going.
I'd love to see that list. I'd love to see that list and then put it on a T-shirt. That'd be a great T-shirt, wouldn't it?
Well, my mom said,
go ahead.
I was gonna say my mom said that at the time I put octopus really high, and she tried to say like, "Oh, octopuses aren't really that dangerous," and now you see them, eating sharks in different tanks and stuff. And she apologized for that years later.
Aha!
I can't believe your memory. Your memory is incredible. You remember all this stuff. All right, cool. Let's
Buried
go.
treasure. Another ride in Adventureland, I give 4 Mickeys. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Classic.
Wonderfully lifelike robots, and although the lines are long, it's worth it. Ahoy, mateys. Next, to go to my favorite ride in Frontierland and in the Magic Kingdom, the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I give this old Western thriller 5 Mickeys. Highlights include going through an old mine shaft.
Hit pause for a sec.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was a huge roller coaster buff. That was the era where I kind of I started going on all the big roller coasters at Great America, and it was especially important to me. Like I liked the thrill rides, but when I went, Space Mountain was under construction for the year. I didn't get to go on that, and I had been looking forward to that so much. So this was the natural alternative, was the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Makes sense. Yeah. Space Mountain was my first roller coaster, and that's what I started loving them after that. And Big Thunder Mountain Railroad was pretty good too. So I would get 5 Mickeys for sure.
Can I just a quick review of you as a anchor or a broadcaster or a personality? I think you're really good. You're good at, like, off the top of your head, you're keeping it moving. You're good at the cameras. You're even figuring out which cameras to turn to. Like, you haven't missed that. I would say the only thing is your timing with your drinks.
Yep.
You know? And granted, you're 11 years old. So,
you know how hot those studio lights are?
Huh?
I was sweating up a storm. I was so...
And
I to this day have poor impulse control, and that's what that is.
Nice.
All right, let us continue with the review of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This Western thrill ride got 5 Mickeys.
Right.
And going around on a tilt at 360 degrees. Now the other ride that I went on in Frontierland. Tom Sawyer's...
That's a Yacht Club T-shirt. That's right. From the hotel where I stayed at.
Yeah, that's the shipwreck, and then it says Yacht Club there. So yeah,
that's where you saw Leslie Nielsen, then, right? That's
where I saw Leslie Nielsen. Yep.
Okay.
We need to find that shirt on eBay and get you in your current size. I think that's
we'll put our buddy George on that.
All right.
I give it 2 Mickeys.
Ooh.
Because it's not really action-packed. A good thing to do with your family. there are some forts, and there are a lot of things from the book, but it's not exactly a ride. You just walk around and see things.
Meow.
Boring as hell.
Next, to go to Fantasyland, probably the most famous part of all of the Magic Kingdom. Fantasyland. One of the rides is the amazing Dumbo. I give this 1 Mickey.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Come on, Flannery.
Because, well,
There we go.
it's a good thing to take little kids on because it does feature the Dumbo character. In spite of the fact you can find that at amusement parks everywhere, even local fairs that come to town. All it is you
That's
just
really
go
what it
up
was
and
the local fair.
around.
Yeah, you really thought that was bullshit.
Yep. Well, when I said local fairs, like that was what it reminds me of. It was slow moving. I really wanted my rides to be fast moving and exciting or spectacular in one way or another. And I remember Dumbo just kind of went around in circles, I think it was. So it
Yeah.
wasn't.
This is you're 11 years old. You have strong opinions about things, and you back it up with experiences, and that's what a good reviewer does. Also, the fact that you used "in spite of," I think you used the word "in spite of" the fact that for an 11-year-old, I've never used that one until I was like 33.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact, like, yeah, you're ahead.
I got a 1510 out of 1600 on my SATs. I had a big.
Yeah.
Future PhD here reviewing Dumbo's ride at Disney. So, all right, here we go.
Next, we'll do Snow White's Scary Adventures. Actually, they're more hilarious than they are scary. But certain parts can startle even adults, especially one part where the Wicked Witch almost drops a boulder right on top of you. And your little dog, too. Oops, wrong story. Well, anyhow, I give it 3 Mickeys. So much like the movie. Next, we have another 3 Mickey ride, which is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Definitely wild, although you don't get to control the cars. But anyways, it's still fun because you just narrowly escape certain things, like a knight has his axe coming down right in front of you, and then zoom, you turn a corner. Pretty suspenseful.
Pause, Nick.
Kids of all ages will like this ride.
So with the Mickey system, would you sit in the room with Flannery beforehand and say, she'd go down the list and you'd be like 3 Mickeys, 1 Mickey, 5 Mickeys. Is that how it would go? And then she would have it all timed and ready to go?
I don't remember, to be perfectly honest. I don't think so. I think I don't remember writing down anything beforehand. If she were here, she'd probably be able to answer that question. But I think that's why it takes her a little while to prepare the graphic. I think that's why the 1 Mickey took her a little bit extra long. I think my guess is once she had them pre-programmed, she could just hit the buttons.
Exactly. But I asked because on that last one, 3 Mickeys came up, but you hadn't said 3 Mickeys yet.
Yes, I had.
Oh, you had?
Yeah,
another 3 Mickey ride.
The very first ride, Adventures.
Okay.
You're kind of tipping off Nancy that this is what's coming up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good question, though. Let's resume.
Next we have Skyway to Tomorrowland, a ride I give 4 Mickeys. This is a ride that gives you a bird's eye view of Cinderella's castle. It takes you one way to Tomorrowland, but if you're in Tomorrowland, you can ride it back to Fantasyland, although it's kind of a slow means of transportation. Now in Tomorrowland, we have my favorite ride, Dream Flight.
I had a lot of favorite rides. You'll notice I say that.
Dream Flight overall, I give 2 Mickeys. But certain parts of it feel like you're just going like this.
This I did pre-plan.
Around
Nice. I think this is when it turns on for our copy.
Yeah, yeah.
This is when our copy
Also,
starts.
in Tomorrowland, there's a ride. I
You can see me.
give,
You can see
again,
it.
2 Mickeys.
The wheels are turned. Yeah.
That's Star Jets. It's basically like Dumbo, only goes much, much faster.
Hence the extra
However,
big.
unless the lines are pretty short, I would go on it. It's a 45-minute wait for not even a 3-minute ride.
But you didn't say 2 Mickeys there. Flannery just threw up those two.
No, yeah, I did.
Oh, you did say 2 Mickeys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
two big-
sorry.
but-
Yeah. All right, my bad.
Pay attention to
In
'em.
the Magic Kingdom, every section has a favorite ride.
I like how your wireless mic just kind of pulling down your shirt a little bit. It's kind of weighing down the neck of it, becoming a V-neck there.
Knowing what I know about myself, I can't believe I'm not grabbing at it.
Yeah.
And are you just remembering how many Mickeys for each one, or you said you didn't have a list? You're just remembering.
Yep, I was going on emotion. Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of did. Well, what I did for everything, including my brother's best man wedding speech. I kind of wrote a little bit of a script in my head ahead of time, and then kind of winged the rest of it. So
Right. How'd that go?
The best man speech, it was
Yeah.
spectacular.
Nice.
How many Mickeys did you give the wedding? Was that part of the speech?
At least 4.
At least
it was-
4.
Yeah.
Also, your brother's featured in the video, I think, coming up here.
I'm-
A photo.
Okay, here we go.
For me, the favorite ride of Frontierland and of the whole Magic Kingdom was Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. For Tomorrowland, it was Dream Flight. And for Liberty Square, it was the only ride I saw, which I
that your
give
brother?
5 Mickeys.
Yep, my brother.
Brothers on the left there.
Yep. He's 4 years younger than me. So if I was 11, he would have been 7. And he was having a good time. He's pretty precocious too. He was an executive at Epic. Now he's back to being a computer programmer. But
Oh, really?
he's he's always been an overachiever.
Yeah. Just
I was
two,
gonna say,
two siblings in the family?
I see us slumped over there, and this reminds me. So I asked about both my parents before I came on with you guys about their biggest memory of the trip, and my mom said it was paying $90 for this hootenanny, show and musical review because she thought we'd like the music and the dancing, and both of us. It was $90, and both of us fell asleep with our face in the plates. So, yeah.
You guys weren't big hootenanny fans, huh? That's weird. An 11-year-old to 7-year-old, not big hootenanny people. Huh.
Not really.
Can you confirm? Are you wearing a fanny pack in that, or is that?
Oh, yes. I rocked
Nice.
out the fanny pack even into my college years touring Europe.
What do you think you had in the fanny pack? What do you think was in it?
Oh, that's a good question. Sunscreen. Undoubtedly, my mom would have packed sunscreen.
Okay.
Probably some sunglasses at that age.
Yeah.
That was before I would have needed allergy medicine. So yeah, probably at least those 2 things. I'm guessing maybe I don't remember if I had a wallet at that age. She trusted me a lot. Nancy Flannery living in Evanston when I was. Starting when I was 8 years old, she would just send me on the Van Galder bus from Madison down to Evanston every summer, just unsupervised and trusted myself to get
It was
there.
a different time. I remember hopping on the Greyhound all the time when I was like 12 and visiting Nick in Stoughton.
Yeah.
I was coming from Neilsville. So just hopping on a Greyhound. Parents just dropped me off at the Greyhound station. Yeah.
Yes.
There's something, yeah. I mean, it doesn't get much cooler than later carrying allergy medicine in a fanny pack, if that ever happened. That's that combo. All right, here we go.
Here we
The
go.
Haunted Mansion.
Halfway there.
Wonderful for all ages.
Haunted Mansion, 5 Mickeys.
Highlights include a growing room and, well, let's just say if you want to find out, you'll have to ride on the ride, but a special little kick at the end. There are more people around you than you know about.
I wish I remembered what this
Well,
kick
that's
was.
basically it for the Magic Kingdom, except for Main Street. Lots of good shops and dining. After all, I got this magic trick here. The refilling vase. Empty? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Again.
And again, and again, and again.
I love that magic shop.
On the next day, we went to MGM Studios theme park. There they offer you great tours, which put you backstage the scenes, behind the scenes,
Okay,
including
pause
the
it again.
places where they.
So the MGM day. So I asked my dad, and he reminded me about a particular memory that I had forgotten happened on this MGM day. We had to get up really early because you had to like reserve tickets for a lot of shows way ahead of time. It's like Broadway; you got to get in line early, right? So my dad, it was really bleary in the morning and was stumbling around, and he was rooting around in the cooler, like the ice cooler that we had. And I asked him what he was doing, and he says, searching for my underwear. And I thought, and
Why did you include that in the one?
It'll be reading around in the freezer. I'll be like, "Oh, you looking for your underwear?"
It's still an inside joke, a running joke in your family.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Wait. Wow, man. Did he say that as a joke?
No. Oh, no.
Was,
He was that tired, I think. This was,
That's funny. I have like vacations. I think like dads are just sort of like they turn off their brains on vacations. So I remember on a trip to Florida, my dad rented a big like Dodge Omni minivan to take us to. I think we went to Disney at that point too. And it was raining, and he turned on the wipers, and they went back and forth. He goes, "Big wipers much?" To this day, we still quote "big wipers much." Anytime it rains and he's driving. So yeah, something about dads on vacation.
He was getting snippy with the wipers.
Yeah.
Put them in their place.
Big wipers much? Okay, here we go. Here's back.
Film the movie and some of the props they used, like the actual slippers that Dorothy wore in The Wizard of Oz. And also, in MGM Studios, a wonderful stunt show. Indiana Jones, Epic Stunt Spectacular. This I give 4 Mickeys because they let you have audience participation, and they do stunts before your very eyes, including a helicopter blowing up, spikes going right under Indy's chin, and a boulder chasing after Indy.
Wow.
And they have the real stunt doubles of Indy and Marion from.
What?
So I'm watching this, and for the first time I'm seeing, because I talked about my therapist and the autism, right? For the first time I'm seeing myself rock back and forth and do that stimming behavior. I do that to this very day.
Oh, really? Wow.
I still rock back and forth like that. Yeah.
All I was noticing was that you call Indiana Jones Indy. You're kind of on a nickname basis with him.
Here you go.
There's a classic line coming up that I quote. I probably quoted it today.
Yeah, this is coming up.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. The only problem with the audience participation, they don't pick kids. At least not as any of my friends or I know of. Because, I have no idea why. The stunts that they do with the audience aren't particularly dangerous. All they do is stand around.
Okay. Pause. That one there, whenever something happens for a reason, or for a reason that you don't understand, we'll always say, we'll be like, why couldn't we get in? Well, they told us that we had to go stand over here. And I don't know why. None of the stunts are particularly dangerous. All they do is just stand around. That's an example of how that might be used. And
yeah, or we'll be trying to go to one of our shows. We'll be like, can we get backstage yet? And we'll be like, no, they won't. And then they'll say like, and Joel will say, no, they don't pick kids.
Yep.
So
that's one of the ones that stuck. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
And again and again and again is another one that I use all the time. Whenever something's repeated or tedious.
I remember like, I remember too, like, we've met celebrities before or whatever. You got to try to keep your cool. But when we met you in New Orleans for the first time, you were living in New Orleans. we just could not contain our cool. We were like running lines, by you, and like it was like we were total fanboys, and still are.
Well, I mean, this is the video that got us started, really, for found footage. I mean,
Yeah.
we dated back to a training video at McDonald's that Nick stole, and this one. Those are the two that we watched constantly.
One of the two founding pillars of your guys'
Exactly. So thank you. Thank you.
Let's resume.
There are also some rides at MGM Studios, both of which I give 5 Mickeys. The first one, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, is sort of like a playground. It's a wonderful place for taking photographs.
Can I just
The second
like this one back there,
was my
the spider web.
Every time I see that, it reminds me of a vagina. I just see a vagina every single time.
Well, it's a Rorschach test. You see what you want to see.
All right, resume.
in all of Disney World, which is Star Tours.
Yes.
People, if you have motion sickness, well, I hope you have medication, because I wouldn't want anyone to miss Star Tours. 5 Mickeys definitely,
that's a line I've got to use in my
because
life. I hope you have
that's all I'm allowed to give. If I could give any higher, I definitely would.
Yeah, back it up, Nick. That's a
Because
classic.
I wouldn't want anyone to miss Star Tours. 5 Mickeys definitely, because that's all I'm allowed to give. If I could give any higher, I definitely would.
So there's some
You're
controversy
in a
there.
spaceship.
Why?
You saw that graphics bar. Did you see they took up the entire horizontal bar?
And this was Flannery's idea too. This is what I'm just learning today, is that the Mickey system was Flannery's idea. So yeah, your hands were tied.
That was literally all you were allowed to give.
Yep. Yeah. look, there's room for maybe a half a Mickey there.
It seems like you could squeeze some in along the bottom there, but talk to Flannery. We'll have to get Flannery on here, and we'll just call her Flannery. We'll say thanks for being on the show, Flannery.
There you go.
Look, Flannery. Why wouldn't you allow him to give more? I mean, Star Tours
He's the star of the show. Here we go.
Okay, more quotable lines right here.
You're in a spaceship, and you have a mission with a robot who's never flown before. Highlights include going straight down into a pit, and then making a U-turn going straight up and blasting into hyperspace. The thing I recommend you do on your first day...
Yeah, can we talk about the robot who's never flown before?
Yeah.
That's another frequent quote. And it's more like, oh, what was the movie about? You know, you went to a movie. It's like, oh, it was about, it was okay. It was about this robot who's never flown before.
And I recently went to Galaxy's Edge, which is in the former MGM Studios. Now it's called Hollywood Studios, and went on Star Tours, which they've updated, but there's still a robot in there. Now it's C-3PO, like an animatronic C-3PO. And now it randomizes the mission you get when you go in. So it's a little updated, but Star Tours is still there. And all I could think about the whole time I was in Galaxy's Edge, I was giving a Mickey rating to every single thing I went on. The Millennium Falcon ride, I was giving 5 Mickeys. And that everything at Disney as an adult is through the window of one kid's opinion.
That's fantastic.
Mark, have you been back to Disney since that video?
So I went the year after that, actually. So this is when I was 11. When I was 12, my parents got a deal on like the big red boat cruise that went to the Bahamas. And so like part of it was going to Disney World. So I did get to go on Space Mountain. That being said, I haven't been back since they put in, what is it, the Tower of Terror or whatever they call it. I mean, I've heard about a few rides that make me want to go back there at some point.
I would love for you to go back and just do another one man's opinion.
There you go.
Well,
Start up a GoFundMe to send me back to Disney
Let's
World.
do it.
Seriously.
Let's start that. Yeah.
seriously, I want to go with, and we can get that on public access. Can you imagine? It'll be like we can get that on
Oh yeah.
on
That'd be
Manhattan, the
fantastic.
Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
Is WYOU still around in Madison?
No,
No.
no,
That's right. Okay.
But-
continue.
Yeah, but we could get it on we could get it up in New York public access if nothing else. So, all right, let's keep going.
All right.
World is go to Epcot, which I've gathered unofficially stands for every person comes out tired, or at least so it seems.
Did
Love
you
the leg
come up,
cross.
Did you come up with that?
No. That was one of those jokes like, fiat standing for fix it again, Tony. Somebody probably told me, or I wouldn't be surprised if I read it in a guidebook. Honestly, like I before I went to 43 countries in my life, I was always reading guidebooks about different places I wanted to go. So
You've been to 43 countries?
I've been to 43 countries. That was what I did with my college years.
Wow.
Wow. Mopar, made of putty and rust.
Mopar. I'm not familiar with that.
Did you say Fiat? Mopar.
Yep.
I don't know what Mopar is either. I just remember kids in high school saying made of putty and rust, Mopar. I
Yeah,
think
the shop kids. Yeah.
yeah, the shop kids would say it. Yeah.
I see my brother there giving the thumbs
Disney's
up.
official logo is
Oh, yeah.
Cinderella's castle, but apparently
hated those
Disney
glasses, by
World's logo.
He
What's
hated
that?
what?
He hated those glasses. He had those glasses not because he had a vision problem, but because they prevented him from going cross-eyed. Apparently, like he didn't have like nearsightedness or farsightedness, but he
still wear them to this
switched
day?
to contacts about as early as I remember any person switching to contacts.
Is the geosphere, spaceship Earth. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Oh yes, I love it.
Another classic.
I give it definitely 5 Mickeys. The robots there are so lifelike. And once you get to the top, you just stare out into space and slowly drift down. But my favorite part of Epcot was in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, which is located right outside the jumping waters.
See, I could clearly see that.
Yeah.
I could clearly
Okay.
see the flipping pictures. So they must have had the pictures up on a screen by the cameras or something.
Who were you mad at there? Flannery or the camera guy?
Camera guys. I had a pretty antagonistic relationship with the camera guys.
So they
I
had
love
like
total lack of social awareness. I would have done the eye roll at age 32 probably. I only learned about social code when in the past 5 years or so.
You're the 11-year-old diva there, and he was probably like they probably had the photos on a music stand or something, right? And then you could see him flipping. So you're like, you should be flipped by now, man. Come on.
Yep.
I know that there are credits at the end of this too. We should look up some of the camera guys.
Yeah, let's
And,
call them out by name.
We should actually talk to them and see if they remember this at
I
all.
remember.
Yeah.
Roll our eyes at them.
Outside the
Get their
jumping waters.
take on me as my diva.
Yeah.
Waters.
Okay.
There we go.
Then, in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, there are 2 rides that I went on. Body Wars, which I give 5 stars,
Stars.
which is
Oh, failed
Right.
in my.
What if she
kind
brought
of like
stars?
Star Tours, only not as much as Star Tours is. It's inside the human body.
My dad got
If you
sick
get
on Body Wars.
if you have motion sickness, you can go on this if you want, but I'd save it for Star Tours.
Hold on. Nick, can you hit?
Another
Did your dad throw up?
No, but we had to take a long break before we went on any of those simulated motion rides after
Okay.
that.
And here's just a question that has nothing to do with one kid's opinion, but it's a question for both of you. Have either of you guys seen your dad's puke?
I haven't.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. I don't remember the context, but it has definitely happened.
We were on a ferry going across Lake Michigan, and it was really choppy. You bring the car onto the ferry, and we were sitting up front. It was a really choppy day, and all 3 of us threw up. I threw up, my brother threw up, and
Wow.
my dad threw up. And I remember my dad going over the side of the boat and just seeing him. Yeah.
I think we were actually on the cruise that we took the following year. I got motion sick, and it was really weird because like that you could probably infer from this video, I never got motion sick. So it was really weird to be at sea and get motion sick and puke.
Right.
Boats can do it. Boats will do it. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got motion sick once on a boat too, and had to go lie down for a long time.
Did you throw up or no?
No, no puking.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Home stretch.
My favorite part of Epcot was also in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, Cranium Command. I give it 5 Mickeys.
You're really throwing
It's
around the
not
five.
actually a ride, but a show
I love
that tells you how to cope with
Epcot's the
stress.
best.
And it includes zillions and zillions of jokes and wisecracks.
That's another line.
And a short
We got to advertise on our next DVD. We should advertise zillions and zillions of jokes and wisecracks.
There you go.
Yes.
Give you full permission to do so.
It should
Thank you.
always be on our DVDs. Zillions
Yeah.
and zillions of jokes and wisecracks.
That's
So
the-
apparently it teaches you how to cope with stress. I never internalized the lesson. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Aren't they supposed to cause stress? You know,
Yeah.
roller coasters and.
Epcot was somewhat educational, I remember.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
preview show before the actual presentation. Now, Epcot is famous for its international part, with many different countries represented. I've found it's not all that it's hyped up to be, except for 2 of them.
Nice turn to the camera.
Maelstrom in Norway and the Rio del Tiempo in Mexico.
Good pronunciation.
You can
Both
see
of
me
which
trying
I
with
give
my
4
Spanish.
Mickeys.
I could pause for
The
a
Rio
second. I'll
del
tell you a little
Tiempo.
bit.
Yeah, let's hear about your Spanish skills.
So my PhD is in French, and what happened? So when I was 5 years old, I kind of had a crush on a first cousin that I had never met, who lived in Ecuador. My aunt was in the Children of God, the infamous Children of God.
Oh, whoa.
And so they were always outside the United States, and they moved around South America quite a bit. And I wanted to be able to speak to my cousin Almond. And so I started taking Spanish after school, like when I was about 6 years old. And every year I learned the same thing. It was the colors and the numbers over and over and over again. And by the time I got to 6th grade, they had like both Spanish and French. And when I was in the Spanish class, it was way too easy. And I had a bilingual teacher at the time who told me that I knew all the Spanish that I was going to learn in middle school. So I should take French and I should take them both in high school and be trilingual. A trilingual teacher, sorry. She didn't tell me that you don't have time to take 2 languages in high school.
Right.
So I got on the French track, and the part of me that rolled my eyes at the camera, the French was easy because of the Spanish. And so I just kind of did all the year's homework in about 2 weeks and kind of mic dropped it on the teacher's desk. And she goes, "Oh, we'll see what," and so they moved me up to 8th grade Spanish 8th grade French in 7th grade. And I was a year ahead every year. In my senior year of high school, I took classes at the university. And so that was kind of how I got on my college major.
Well,
Wow.
and I can always tell that like no kid at age 11 pronounces Rio del Tiempo. You know, you had like the actual proper pronunciation.
Yep.
You wanted to impress your first cousin. I get it.
And I did.
And now you're married.
No.
Is translated into the River of Time. Wonderful scenes as you float in a boat down the river.
Are
And
not
in the
present.
Maelstrom, another boat ride, going over many waterfalls. Highlights include meeting a 3-headed troll and going backwards over one waterfall.
Just a quick update. The Maelstrom in the Norway Pavilion is now the Frozen ride. So they repurposed that and made it frozen.
Kidding me.
So they bulldozed the Maelstrom.
It's a sad day.
Yeah.
That's just about it for Epcot. There are a few other things which, like, before the
I'm getting lost
in
in my head
between the
here.
jumping waters, and the wonders of life. There is Michael Jackson's Captain EO.
What?
I said, see, I had a mental map. I said, in between the waters of life and
Yeah.
I could remember in my brain like where things were laid out geographically.
Yeah. Oh.
And I think
maps.
I lost that skill in the era of GPS, but
yeah, I think you may have been distracted too about how bad you hated this next ride. So let's listen to that.
And also, you're very magenta right now.
There is
Yeah. Might just be the old tape. I don't know.
I think it's
Michael
Flannery.
Jackson's Captain EO. In between the jumping waters and the wonders of life, there is Michael Jackson's Captain EO. Well, that's something else which I won't bother to review right now. But there are several other attractions.
I mean, wow, ahead of your time.
Can we have you review it now?
I don't remember much about it. I was an 11-year-old kid, and it was Michael Jackson. I blocked it out of my memory.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Did you like Michael Jackson and were disappointed by the ride, or you just weren't into it?
It was just not my style. I was not a Michael Jackson fan. I believe that at that age, my favorite band was the a cappella group from Canada, the Nylons.
Oh, yeah. I remember the Nylons.
Oh, yeah.
In the still of the night, or yeah.
Yep.
But I really like this where I paused it too. It's kind of
There you go. There. This, by the way, this was my most camera heavy period of my life. I'll see if I can get my mom to copy the VHS and just send it to you for your guys' own personal entertainment. But I was the lead in my 5th grade play. I was George Washington. So
you would have been 10 years old. You would have been about the same age.
Yep, it was.
See.
It was literally like a few months before I filmed this. I was George Washington. And,
Whoa! Yes, I want to
cool.
see it. I want to see that.
I think the oldest VHS my mom's got. So. All right.
To Epcot. Well, that's basically what there is to Disney World. There are other hotels on the grounds that you can stay at, including the Contemporary, which has a monorail running through it. And there are wonderful places to dine. If you're in the mood for something different, you can try the Moroccan restaurant in Epcot. Or if you want just plain, ordinary, everyday stuff, you can go to the Adventureland Veranda in the Magic Kingdom.
I just want to briefly talk about that because you became a chef too, right? So here you are reviewing food.
I'm not a chef, but I did do my master's. Yeah, my master's thesis was on the history of the French and African roots of New Orleans cuisine. So I'm not a chef, but a culinary historian of sorts.
Right. So already reviewing food at an early age here.
Indeed.
But did you appreciated food back then, huh?
Oh yes, and exotic food too. That was about the age that Thai food was my absolute favorite thing when I was 11.
What?
I loved Thai food.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was hot dogs
and that I ever learned to cook things in.
Nick was eating Cookie Crisp straight from the box at that age.
Yeah, still am.
I'm a very picky eater. I basically didn't eat any vegetables practically at that age, but
you were down in the foie gras.
Yes, very much so.
Well, if you're going to Disney World, enjoy your stay. If you're not, well, I also enjoyed talking to you. Goodbye.
Magic.
The magic of Flannery.
There you go.
That was ILM, right? Here we go. Credits. Let's find some cameramen.
Okay.
Huh. Yeah. These are your dedications?
Yes.
What's Brett up to?
Brett is I believe he's a computer science professor in Quebec.
Wow.
Right.
Keep in touch?
Yes. Sporadically. Mark Flynn and I do not keep in touch. I don't know what happened to him. He did the Peace Corps, and I haven't heard about I think he became maybe a doctor. I don't remember.
Did they appreciate the shout out though?
I don't know that they know that the shout out existed.
Here we go. Okay, VTR operator. God, there's a full crew here.
Yep. Chicago's the big leagues, right?
Yeah.
Camera crew. There they are.
There they are.
Steve, like Chuck Mitchell.
MWH Productions. That's my initials. I have an official copyright on the show. That explains why,
We might get a
mind,
takedown notice.
Uh,
All right.
I'm gonna take a picture of their names here. Camera.
Yeah, we're calling you out, Harry Mickelson, Steve Legg, Chuck Mitchell.
You're never gonna work in this town again, Mickelson. MWH, Mark W. Huntsman. What's the W?
William.
William.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
man.
it.
Wow.
Oh, what an honor! What an honor to actually watch that with you. If you would have told me that in 1994, 1993?
Yeah, 2, 3, somewhere around that.
Oh, I would have said, yeah, not a chance. But holy shit, you made our dream. This is Make a Wish right here.
Thank you, guys. It's been a lot of fun for me too. This is
When you look back on it, like, what overall impression do you have? Like, what's it like looking back at that old footage of yourself?
It's interesting. It's bittersweet. Life kind of beats everybody around a little bit. So I look at that and I think I was a much more joyful person, and I see this enthusiasm and a charisma I don't know if I have today, but
I think you're very charismatic. I love hearing your stories.
Absolutely. And you know what? You're like the best sick person ever. And in the show, you can't tell you're sick. Right now, I can't tell you're sick. Like, you're a great sick person.
So
you should be sick more often.
Some of my greatest achievements, when I was in 16, I got my wisdom teeth out and kind of went back to school the next day with a ton of Percocet in my system. And I took a test, and the teacher, who was notorious for never giving above a 92, gave me a 96 on that test, and he wanted to talk about how it was the most creative thing that he had read in years and years of teaching. And I said, well, I have this Percocet. He goes, save that. I think it has street value.
You've been hooked on Percocet ever since.
I think the only thing left to say is thanks for coming on, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to...
oh, yes, I loved it.
Oh, yes, you loved it. Sorry.
Joe, go ahead.
I just wanted to give a shout-out to your friend, Brett.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We couldn't...
I was best man at his wedding, too.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. All right. And then I guess we all just say goodbye, and then we disappear, right?
Yep. All right, let's do it.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
This is VCR.